Hello, everyone. It's Tuesday, so it's time to read another Choose Your Own Adventure. This one is Choose Your Own Adventure number 120, Ghost Train by Louise Monroe Foley. And front cover, I assume that is the Ghost Train. And here's, I guess that's us, the protagonist, holding our dog. Looking pretty oblivious. Hi, Rachel. Yeah, looking pretty oblivious. I think this might be one of the endings where you just don't even see the ghost train coming, and you're like, "Do you hear something, boy? Sounds like it's getting louder. I don't know what it is though." Okay. So yeah, and dog looks like he's about to he's trying to get out of your hands. He's like, the dog knows. Dog's like, "Get me out of here! Stop holding on to me." Let's get spooky. All right, let's get spooky. The back cover. You're the star. 14 exciting endings. Can you solve the mystery of the Phantom Train? While visiting your friend Harry's farm, you discover that someone has been sabotaging his land. Late one night, you see a mysterious old Indian woman. Oh boy, okay. I knew the Indian woman has to show up at some point. Heading for the orchards, and you decide to follow her. Suddenly, you hear the sound of a train whistle coming from the abandoned railroad tracks nearby. You know that there hasn't been a train through here for over 50 years. 50 years. You want to investigate, but you don't want to let the Indian woman get away. What will you do? Oh, man. Yeah, we don't want to let the Indian woman get away. If you decide to investigate the Phantom Train, turn to page 43. If you follow the Indian woman, no. Turn to page 32. Leave the Indian woman alone. All right? She's just minding her own business. But be careful. You could foil the saboteur's plans and save Harry's farm, or you might find yourself on board the mysterious train, lost in time. Wow, the racism started before we even opened the book. Yeah, that happens sometimes. What happens next in the story? It all depends on the choices you make. How does the story end? Only you can find out. And the best part is that you can keep reading and rereading till you've had not one, but many incredibly daring experiences. Yeah, this is it's pretty long there in the series. It's like 120. This is probably like 1990s now. You see a person of color and decide to follow them for literally no reason. Right? Yeah, I assume they do mean Native American. Yeah, it's pretty cringy. I'm assuming the whole book does not revolve around that. Hi, Sue. Experience racism in 14 different ways. Yeah. Well, I will let everybody know that any book that talks about being a master of any kind of martial arts, which there are several of them in the Choose Your Own Adventure series, I'm going to pretty much avoid all of those. It's got that kind of Iron Fist vibe kind of to it, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to avoid all those, so. Okay. So anyways, we were on the ghost train. Oh, and here's the kids that can't stop reading Choose Your Own Adventures. Even the 17-year-old. Here's all the books. Oh, Soccer Star. That sounds like a good one. Oh, they have the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. Choose Your Own Adventure books. Those might be fun. Maybe. Revolution in Russia. That's a good one. I'll bet. Probably use one right now. Yeah. So Ghost Train. It's illustrated by Frank Bowl. That's some good art. Oh yes, it is from an apartheid-themed Choose Your Own Adventure book where we stop apartheid or something. Yep. That just happened. Or that won't be happening. Alright, this was published January 1992. From my friend Lois Price, who knows we mortals do nothing by ourselves. Okay, if you say so. I just saw the book title. I doubt Master of Kung Fu is respectful to the Asian community. Yeah, probably not. Yeah, there are several. There's Master of pretty much every martial art you can imagine. There's a book where you can pretend that you're a master at it. Do not read this warning. Do not read this book straight through from beginning to end. These pages contain many different adventures that you may have as you try to solve a mystery while spending the summer on a farm in British Columbia, Canada. From time to time, as you read along, you will be asked to make a choice. Your choice may lead to success or disaster. The adventures you have are the results of your choices. You are responsible because you choose. After you make a decision, follow the instructions to find out what happens to you next. Think carefully before you act. Someone's been sabotaging the orchards late at night. Oh no, not the orchards. And you've got to put a stop to it. Your investigations may lead you to a mystery of ghosts and Indian curses. But be careful. Even if you do discover who's behind the sabotage, you may not be able to save the farm. Good luck. Choose your own white savior. Yep. Yeah, it's like crazy that like this stuff was like still being published in 1992. You know, like it's Edward Packard. It's Louise Monroe Foley. Oh, you're talking about the Master of Kung Fu? Yeah, he wrote a lot of those. Choose your own. Okay. I like this. I do like the art though. I like the Peaches sign. It's a song where it goes moving to the country, eat a lot of peaches. Yeah, Indian curses. Yep. They're back. You and your father were ready to leave on a trip to Canada's Okanagan Valley in British Columbia when the company he works for received a large contract and he had to cancel the vacation. The man you were going to visit, Harry Westlake, is your father's boyhood friend, and he has asked your parents to let you come anyways. Tourist season has started, and Harry, the owner of several orchards and a fruit stand, needs some help. Harry's great-grandparents, you have learned, were among the first settlers in the area and planted many acres in peach trees. It sounds like a lot of work, but also promises to be fun. Yeah, sounds like it would be a blast. Why does Harry want us there? I don't know. Seems weird. I don't know. Harry never married. No, just remember that. That's some bad Harry. Okay. Your parents talked the situation over and have agreed that you can go and work for Harry for the whole summer. Wow. Whole summer. Now, 5 days later, you're on a plane flying north to Canada. A tall, thin man wearing cowboy boots and jeans meets you at Kelowna Airport. I'm Harry, he says, picking up your suitcase. Glad you're here. I sure could use the help. He leads you to an old station wagon out in the parking lot. Climb in. He pulls out of the parking lot and eases into the traffic flow. So, this is your first trip to the Okanagan? He asks. My first trip to Canada, you reply. Okanagan is a strange name. What does it mean? It's so strange, doesn't it? Oh boy. I was like, what? I don't know. Like, what would Harry sound like? I'm not going to try to do a Canadian accent. Okanagan is so strange. It's kind of vague, like the place of water or something. Okanagan is the name of the valley and of the lake. He grins at you. Now ask me what Kalamalka means, and I can tell you that. Kalamalka, you say, rolling the strange word over on your tongue. That means lake of many colors. And now ask me who Okopogo is. Okopogo? You're sure he is teasing you. Right, Okopogo, Harry says. And that's just his nickname. His real name is Nahaitik. The Salish Indians named him. Okay, you say, grinning. You decide that if you're going to stay with Harry all summer, you'll have to get used to some teasing. Who is... I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Harry is one of those white people. It's so strangely non-white sounding. That if it's non-white sounding, that means it's strange. He was not actually Prince Harry, but they didn't know that. Okay. Who is Nahaatikit, and what does the name mean? It means sacred creature of the water, or, if you like, lake demon. He's the local pet. Harry turns down a side road. Ahead of you, the clear blue water of a large lake reflects the afternoon sun. He lives in an underwater cave here in Lake Okanagan. You mean a sea monster, you say? You're putting me on. No, Harry replies seriously. Many people have seen him. Last year some fellows from Hollywood even videotaped him. The most we know about Ogopogo is that he appears to be friendly. You stare at the lake. Does Harry really believe in sea monsters, you wonder? Go on to the next page. Guess we're going to find out. It's a big lake, you say. 80 miles long, Harry says. Plenty of room for a sea monster to hide. He starts the motor and pulls out onto the road. I have a fruit stand just down here as a ways, and the house and the orchards are up on that hill. House is too big for me, Harry continues. It'll be good to have you here. Give the ghosts somebody new to pick on. Ghosts, you say? Harry grins. Well, the place is old and creaky. Some of the natives say it's haunted. He turns the station wagon onto a narrow dirt road bordered on the left by a peach orchard. Wow, you say to Harry. Are these all your trees? Not anymore, he says sadly. Used to be that everything from the highway to the foothills was Westland Lake. My great-grandfather bought it from the Indians. Yeah, bought it. He, quote-unquote, bought it from the Indians. But this belongs to the Naldo Corporation now. This will be its last year in fruit. What do you mean? Naldo is a development company, Harry says. They're going to tear out the trees and build condos, unless I can come back with the money to buy back the land. My grandfather... Oh, man. This is pretty bad. My grandfather would scout me if he knew I had sold those acres.
Oh my god.
This is getting, like, worse and worse. I don't even know if I want to continue. Alright. Who thinks this is, like, pretty terrible and keep going because maybe the racism will stop at some point? It's been, like, relentless so far. I don't know. Like joking about scalping people, it's like not. Okay. Turn to page 52. I can hear Valerie dying in the background. Oh, it's fun. It's supposed to be a ghost train. What's all this stuff about? What the? Was this something that they like published in the early, like they wrote it in the early 80s and didn't like publish it until 1992? Okay. If you don't like Naldo, why did you sell to them, you ask, holding on as the station wagon bumps over some railroad tracks that seem to have appeared out of nowhere. When we get to our first choice, we can see if there's a non-racist option. I hope so. I'd had 2 bad years in a row. I needed money to pay the mortgage on the rest of my land, Harry explains. Naldo would like to get all my land. They keep sending their snoops around. Do you own a railroad too, you ask, looking back at the old tracks? Harry laughs. Oh no, that's the old Raleigh line. Used to run through here 50 years ago. Well, there's the house. He points to a large stone and wood house up ahead. Harry pulls the station wagon into a carport. The house is 3 stories tall, with balconies extending from some of the 3rd floor windows. You follow him into the front hall and up the stairway to the 2nd floor. He pushes open a door, and you step into a cheerful bedroom, decorated in blue and white. A fireplace on one wall faces windows across another. It's nice, you say, setting down your suitcase. I'll show you the room upstairs, too, Harry says. Hasn't been used much in the last 50 years, but you can take your pick. He leads you through a door at the end of the hall and up a flight of narrow stairs. The ceiling of the attic room slants with the slope of the roof, and the windows open out into a small balcony. Go on to the next page. The abandoned railroad tracks are encouraging. Yeah. Let's pick the least racist room. Well, the room that's like blue and white. Maybe that's like less racist. When I was growing up, I'd often come here and lie out on that balcony, counting the cars going by over on the highway. My grandmother would never let me sleep in this room, though. She thought it was haunted. Don't believe in it much myself, But to each his own, I guess. Either room's as good as the other, but it's up to you. You walk out into the balcony as you try to make up your mind. Off to your left, an eagle soars effortlessly. Beyond the orchards rise the majestic Rockies. The view is breathtaking. You don't believe in ghosts, and a room up in the attic would be really private. Still, the other room was bigger. Maybe you should pick that one. Besides, it has a fireplace, and no rumors of ghosts. If you choose the room on the second floor, turn to page 64. If you decide to ignore the so-called ghosts and stay in the attic hideaway, turn to page 46. Send in the ghosts. Wait, how do we know Harry? He's like our father's childhood friend or something like that. He's not even a relative. He's like our dad's friend. We've like never met him. We don't know him or anything. But apparently we decided to go up to Canada to like spend the whole summer at his orchard farm. I don't know why. Guess we're like really obsessed with Canada or something. Vote for Spooky? Yeah, Dad's college buddy. Ghosts are going to be racist. I'm feeling like they might be. Possibly. He's our dad's boyfriend. That's what they said. Boyhood friend. No ghosts? Okay. Anyone think we should do the anyone else think we should do the ghosts? No, I don't think I've ever done that. Randomly stay with a parent's college friend who we don't know. My dad almost once moved in with this guy, like became his roommate, like when I was like early teens. And the guy also wanted me to play this role-playing game that he was running. And my dad decided not to move in with him and be his roommate. And then maybe a few years after that, it turns out the guy was like a major drug dealer and he murdered his parents. So it's probably a good idea that my dad didn't move in with him. So it just kind of reminded me of that. Yeah. Ghosts would be cool, but... Alright, I guess we'll avoid the room with the ghosts on it. Whoa, yeah. He's probably still in jail, maybe. It was a long time ago. This was back in the late 80s. I'll take the room on the second floor, you tell Harry. I've never had a fireplace in my bedroom before. Harry chuckles as you go back downstairs. Back when my great-grandfather built this house, fireplaces were the only heat they had. He opens the door to the blue and white room. This was his favorite room. My grandfather's, too. I think they liked it because they could see so much of the estate from here. My grandfather spent hours at that window, squinting into those binoculars. A phone rings downstairs and Harry goes out to the hall. Get unpacked, he says. I'll see what Mrs. Winters has planned for supper. You close the door and look around. On the fireplace hearth is an old coal oil lantern, just like one you saw in a railroad museum once. Good to have in case a storm cuts off the power, you think. You go out to the window. The afternoon sun outlined the mountains beyond the orchards to the west. Someone comes out from behind a shed that stands between the house and the orchard. You pull aside the curtains and pick up the binoculars for a better look. It's a woman dressed in a long skirt with a band of cloth around her forehead, and she's holding a wicked-looking knife. The woman squats down and digs a hole in the clearing. She appears to be burying something. But what? Could she be one of the Naldo Corporation troublemakers that Harry told you about? Yeah, she definitely looks like a Naldo troublemaker, for sure. That's definitely what I'm thinking. we're like a creeper now. Like there we are with the binoculars, creeping around. Turn to page 23. We should avoid Harry too, apparently. If you choose racism, turn to page 23. If you choose also racism, turn to page 24. Harry, you yell, racing downstairs. There's a strange woman bearing something out in the back by the shed. She's got a knife. She may be one of the Naldo people. Harry grins. Dressed in Indian garb? He asks. You nod. That's Belinda, he says. She lives out there. Lives there, you say. But what's she burying? Who knows, he says. She buries things out there and chants over them. But I don't pay much attention. Come, meet Mrs. Winters. There's some really cool stuff happening outside. You could talk to that person, but talk to Mrs. Winters instead. Okay. Mrs. Winters, Harry's cook and housekeeper, lives in town and commutes to Harry's every weekday. Weekends are on your own, she announces, as she takes off the big white apron that covers her short, plump body. Harry's a rotten cook. Oh, and there's some fat shaming, too. Wow. Racism and fat shaming. I didn't know we'd get both in the same book. That's a real treat. She has a PhD, you racist kid. She buries shit in my backyard all the time. No biggie. Harry's a rotten cook, she says, grinning. I suggest you order in pizza on weekends. You and Harry eat supper in a breakfast room off the kitchen. Tell me about Belinda, you say to him. Oh, she's a strange one, Harry says. I feel sorry for her. Some of the town ladies decided once that she was a threat to the community and needed custodial care, which meant locking her up in the township medical facility. So they got up a petition. Why, because she was, burying things? I don't... What happened, you ask? Turn to page 42. Couldn't make it stick. They couldn't find a next of kin to commit her, and she wasn't threatening anyone. Only thing against her was that she was living on township land in an old lean-to. Is that against the law? Yep. So I offered her the picker's cabin on my property. Couldn't stand to see her locked up on a technicality. I also gave her a job working in the fruit stand. Well, she certainly is weird, you say, still suspicious of the old woman's strange behavior. Yes, it's very suspicious, burying things. Harry grins. We're all weird in our own way, he says. Belinda is Shuswap, a tribe from up north of here. She's one of the last shamans around. She inherited her grandfather's powers when he died. What kind of powers, you ask? And what's a shaman? A shaman is sort of like a witch doctor, Harry tells you. They can cure people or put curses on them, or... Put curses on people, you say skeptically. I don't believe it. Once you've seen it, you'll believe it, Harry replies. A few years back I saw a logger in Kamloops who had tried to strangle a young brave with his bare hands. The logger didn't kill him, but he messed up his throat enough that the brave couldn't talk anymore. Well, the brave's uncle was a shaman, and he put a curse on that old logger. I feel like there's a curse on this book. What kind of a curse, you ask? Where's the ghost train? Powers. Yeah, being homeless is a crime in Privileged City. Oh, you're homeless? Oh, time to lock you up. That's what we do to homeless people. Ugh. Oh, this is probably the best ending, where we're getting mauled by a dog. I hope that happens to us. Page 68. Not yet. Not getting mauled by a dog yet. This is the first book I think where I want us to die horribly. Magical people of color. Yes. Thanks, 1992. Yeah, you didn't know they were magical. It gets even better. Page 68. He put a curse on the logger's hands, Harry says. The fellow's hands got all crippled up, with fingers bent in and knuckles stiff, in a position like he was about to strangle somebody. I'd like to strangle the person who wrote this. He can't move his fingers, can't work his job, can't pick up anything, can't even feed himself. So don't you go poo-pooing a shaman's curse. They can be powerful. Harry changes the subject, thank God, and starts talking about the orchards and the fruit stand. But your mind keeps returning to the woman by the shed and the strange powers that Harry talked about. What in the world was Belinda burying? As you finish your supper, Harry says, think I'll go out to the west orchard after supper to check the irrigation pipe. Do you want to come along? You think for a moment. You do want to see the orchard, but you also like to keep an eye on this Indian witch doctor and try to find out what she buried. Just gotta keep an eye on her. Oh man. Yeah. If you go with Harry, turn to page 59.
Do we have another?
Do we have another book? Look forward to getting mauled. Yeah, this is like getting too crazy. Should we just like do another book?
Something else.
Let me see. Let's see here.
You can't even trust like
A
haunted.
Scene of the crime?
What kind of crime?
I don't know. Crime against a witch doctor. Do we want to dig up bones? The best part of this book are the Valerie noises. Should we just finish this? I can't decide. Alright, who thinks we should finish this? Who thinks we should read Scene of the Crime? I feel like reading this book is kind of like we're at the scene of the crime. Like I don't want to feel like I'm like being super offensive. I didn't think it was going to be this ridiculous. This is like really bad. But
It doesn't stop either.
like it doesn't stop, yeah. It's like just keeps going. And the whole book is going to be us like I feel like at some point though, like we do like learn more about her, of course, and then we trust her probably, you know, and then
Yeah, but she's gonna like turn into like.
should finish. So Stephanie says, finish.
How about this?
Yeah.
How about you like can skip over.
Okay.
Just be like.
Yeah, I'll just skip over stuff.
Skip
All right,
over,
hold on. Let
like,
me.
some slurs.
Yeah. Where is that? All right, pages. I figure out what page we. Okay. All right, then we went to page 42, and then page 68. Yeah, so we either go with Harry, which I kind of think that might be the better idea, or we could stay at the house. If there are 3 more accounts of racism, we quit. Okay, that seems fair enough. Or we'll just like skip over it. If I see what's coming up, I'll just like, I'm not even going to bother reading it. Yeah, so maybe, because staying at the house, that means go with Harry and stop spying on the nice lady. Yeah, let's do that. Charlotte, come along. I'd like to see the orchard, you tell Harry. After dinner, you help Harry load some plastic piping and tools into an old Jeep. Soon, you're bouncing over rutted trails, leading through the orchards, heading towards the farthest lot. There's more railroad tracks, you say, holding onto the seat. Are these tracks connected to the ones we crossed on the way in? Yep. The Valley Line ran right through here. Tracks all overgrown now. Like I said before, the line hasn't been used for 50 years, maybe longer. My dad used to tell me that when he was a boy, he listened for the steam engine whistle and then run to wave at the engineer. Where did the line run, you ask? Up to the Sycamus. All the growers ship their produce out on the Valley Line. More dependable than what we've got now, if you ask me. What do you mean? The truckers, Harry says. They're threatening to strike again. Oh, no. Well, they probably want more money, those truckers. Always striking and stuff, asking for better conditions. Of course, if the trucking companies would pay them a decent wage, those fellows wouldn't have to strike. But no matter who's to blame, if there's a strike, I'll lose everything. Everything, you ask? You mean the peach crop? I mean everything, Harry repeats. Orchards, house, everything. If I lose the crop, I can't pay the mortgage. And if I don't pay the mortgage, Naldo has an option on the whole place. Go to page 82. Oh, Joes, you love the belly pats, don't you? Yeah, Yeah, Rob, I just went ahead and like, it was like, we got to go with Harry. I think there'd already be like, if we didn't go with Harry, there'd already be like 3 more cases of racism. Right. Harry brakes, and the Jeep bounces to a stop. "Give me a hand," he says, hoisting a length of pipe from the rack on the Jeep. "That line over there is cracked." You watch as he drops to his knees on the soggy ground, slices out the damaged pipe, and glues in a new joint and section. He slides the damaged piece towards you. "Put it on the rack." You and Harry check 2 more spots and then head back to the house. A small bonfire is burning near the spot where Belinda was digging earlier, and she is on her knees beside it, doing some stuff. And then you ask him what she's doing, and he doesn't know. And then you ask him what she buried, and he says that's none of our business. And he says, "Our business is this pipe." He takes the pipe off the rack and lays it on a workbench under a fluorescent light. "Just what I thought," he says, turning it over. "What?" you ask. "It's not cracked," says Harry. "This isn't weather stress. This pipe's been cut." "Who'd want to do that?" "The people who want my land," Harry replies grimly. Turn to page 62. How is Harry the voice of reason? Doing some stuff. She's just doing stuff. Leave her alone. She does what she wants. "I don't get it," you say to Harry. "How would cutting a few pipes help someone get your land? If those trees don't get water during the critical period, there will be no crop. Controlled watering is the only way. Why don't we take turns watching for trespassers at night?" Harry pats her shoulder. "It's a good idea," he says, "but I've got miles of irrigation pipe out there. It would take an army to watch it. We'll just have to spot check. I can watch from my room at night with those binoculars." Harry nods. "Couldn't hurt," he says. He locks the barn door and the 2 of you walk to the house. Belinda has disappeared, and the bonfire is now ashes. And then you ask him a question about Belinda, and then he says, "No, that's stupid. That's a stupid question." You're like, "Okay, I'm stupid." Go on to the next page. "The whole valley belonged to the Indians," Harry says. "Not just my land." "I'll check for other cut pipes in the morning. You can come with me or work in the fruit stand." So, yeah. So you could work in the fruit stand, but the irrigation system is extensive, and Harry could probably use your help checking the pipes. And I keep seeing drawings of a box of peaches, but we have yet to have a peach, which seems really weird. How is it that, like, we're at a fruit, is orchards and a fruit stand, and we haven't had any peaches yet? He said Belinda's fine, and but we're still like, I don't trust her. She's one of those witch doctors. Okay, if you go with Harry, turn to page 26. If you work at the fruit stand, which is not recommended, turn to page 39. Go with Harry. The author has never eaten a peach. I just keep thinking of that song. It's like, moving to the country, eat a lot of peaches. Moving to the country, eat my peaches. Okay. 26. "I'll help you check the pipes," you say to Harry. Meeting a saboteur sounds a lot more exciting than selling cherries, you think. In the morning, Harry shows you how to repair damaged pipe by cutting out the broken section and gluing a new sleeve over both ends. The 2 of you leave to start your inspection. "Watch for soggy ground," Harry says as the Jeep bounces along. "That spot looks bad," you say, pointing to a swampy area. Harry pulls over and you jump out to inspect the pipe. "It's been cut," you say. "I can fix this one. I'll run through the orchard when I'm done and meet you on the other side." "Righto," Harry yells, driving off. Turn to page 61. It doesn't take you long to replace the pipe. Soon you're jogging through the orchard to meet Harry. Suddenly a sharp noise rips through the morning quiet. It sounds like a rifle shot. You stop and listen, circling up the side of a small hill so you can look down into the valley below. Now it's obvious that what you heard was a tire blowout. The Jeep is tipped over and Harry is lying motionless beside it. "Harry!" you yell, springing down the slope. "Harry!" His eyes flutter open and then close. "My leg!" he whispers. His right leg is twisted at the knee at a grotesque angle. "It looks like it's broken, Harry," you say. "I better not try to move you. We're going back to the house for help." You grab a blanket from the back of the Jeep and spread it over him. "Try to lie still. I'll hurry," you promise. You run back to the house. Mrs. Winters calls for an ambulance and a tow truck. Harry is taken to Valley Hospital, where his leg is set and put in a cast. The doctor says it will be several days before he can come home. Why a tow truck?
The car.
The car's like upside down. Okay.
Just like his leg.
Oh, looking at his leg, you mean? Looks like he's just like taking a nap. Doesn't look so bad.
No, dude, look, the foot is turned backwards.
Oh yeah, that's probably not good. I like the shirt though. It's like a nice checkered pattern. Looks like the truck is like on him though too. Like it's kind of a weird angle. That is grotesque, all right. He's lying at that exact angle people do in movies when the leg is broken because everyone can just do that with their leg. Yep. It's nice they show us the leg. All right, turn to page 73. The Jeep is towed to the equipment barn. "No point in trying to fix that tire," the tow truck driver says. "The shot went through both walls." "Shot, you say? I thought it was a blowout." "Nah, it was a rifle. I'd stake my paycheck on it." "But who'd want to shoot at Harry?" you ask. The driver shrugs. "Who knows? Could have been tourists after some game out of season, or kids taking target practice." You don't tell Mrs. Winters that the tire was shot. She's nervous enough already. "I don't like the idea of you staying alone in this big old house," she says. "Why don't you stay with Mr. Winters and me in town until Harry gets home?" "I'll be fine," you tell her. "I don't mind staying alone." But that night, when you're up in your room trying to read, you aren't quite so brave. The quietness of the house becomes like another presence. And then you start to hear things. Running water, footsteps, whispers. Is someone outside? You grab the binoculars and creep over to the window. The moon is bright, and you focus on a shadow over by the shed. It's Belinda. Turn to page 54. It's Belinda. That's it. As you watch from the window, Belinda starts walking quickly towards the orchards. Still watching, you slip your shirt and jeans on. She heads across the fields to the right. That's the area Harry was going to check this morning before the accident. You grab the old train lantern from the hearth and race downstairs and outside. You don't want to lose her. Suddenly you hear a shrieking whistle. You whirl around. You can't believe your eyes. An old-fashioned train is chugging through the orchard half a mile from the house. But it can't be. Harry said the tracks had been used for 50 years or more. What's going on here? You turn around just in time to see Belinda disappear into the trees at the edge of the orchard. She doesn't look back when the whistle blows again. It's as though she has heard nothing. Harry will be home in a few days, and this could be your only chance to follow Belinda for some reason. But you also want to find out more about the mysterious train. Where is it coming from? Where is it going? And why didn't Belinda seem to hear it? Maybe she just doesn't care about, like, trains. We've got better things to do. If you run to investigate the train, turn to page 43. If you continue to follow Belinda, turn to page 32. Train. Oh, that's what I was thinking too, like she summoned it with her shaman powers. What's a shaman? I was wondering. What? I was thinking that. What's a midichlorian? Mr. What are midichlorians? Engine number 9 on the New York Transit line. If that engine falls off the track, pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up. Driving that train. Look, she's like right there. I don't know if I can follow her. Where is she? I didn't even see. Oh, there she is. So yeah, we're not following. Are we not following Belinda? Leave Belinda alone. All right, leave her alone. I agree. You decide that you can catch up with Belinda later. Right now, you want to find out about the train and where it's going. You run across the field. Puffs of steam come from the engine. The whistle screeches. Then you hear another noise. A dog is barking angrily at the train. The animal has a large frame, but there's not much flesh on its bones. Where did it come from, you wonder? Harry doesn't have any dogs. You whistle. Here, doggy, you whistle again. The train is getting closer and closer. The yellow dog is standing right on the tracks, defying the machine as it approaches. Your heart is thumping in your chest. The stupid mud is going to get hit for sure. You leap for the dog, pushing it across the tracks just in time. The force of your tackle wins you, and you lie quietly for a few seconds, trying to piece together what has happened. You look around for the dog, but you don't see him. Everything is blurry. As your head clears, you feel the chill of fear. Faces crowd in around you, wearing concerned expressions. Where am I? You ask. You're on the Valley Flyer, a man says. I'm Ben Huggins, the engineer. He points to a man covered with coal dust. This here's Frank, my fireman, and Rusty and Jeremiah here are my brakemen, and this is Saul, our conductor. You start to protest, but the rhythmic sound of steel on the rails cannot be camouflaged. You know it's true. You're riding the train that hasn't traveled these tracks for over 50 years. Turn to page 99. To a train, the train, says Tattoo. Oh no. Page 99. Yeah, the train apparently we're on the ghost train now. Page 99. You feel the train slowing as it veers off onto the siding and stops. Strong hands help you to sit up. The engineer smiles at you. That was very brave of you to try to save the dog, he says. I don't get it, you say. What happened? Where is the dog? Where did this train come from? Harry says the Valley Line hasn't run for over 50 years. Then all of a sudden I see you going through the orchard. You shake your head in confusion. I must be dreaming, you continue. It's as if I've jumped back in time. You're not dreaming, Ben says, and you haven't jumped back in time. You've just moved sideways. Sideways, you ask? Ben nods. Most people don't understand that all timelines run parallel. What do you mean, you ask, more confused than ever. Well, for example, the 19th, 20th, and 21st centuries are all occurring at the same time. Yeah, so like racism that you thought, was happening a long time ago is actually happening right now. It's kind of like that. So are the decades of the 20s and the 30s and the 90s. They're all populated by different people. But once in a while, something will happen that allows someone, in this case, you, to move between timelines. Do you know what happened, you ask? The men exchange glances. Turn to page 18. Sounds pretty fair. What is happening now, I do not know. Yeah, I like what they say. It's populated by all sorts of different people, all sorts of different white people. 18. Here we go, page 18. I'm afraid so, Frank says. The dog you tried to save was hit by this train in 1905. What we do now is keep shunting back and forth between our time zone and the time zone we came from. His voice drops and his eyes mist over. Until the dog is returned, Ben tells you, we can't enter your time zone. We can't go back to ours. We need your help. My help, you say? I don't see how I can help. I don't even know how I got here. Your coal oil lantern got you here, he says. That lantern fell off this train the night the dog was hit. It doesn't belong in your time zone. Folks in that big house must have found it over here. He picks it up and points to a name stamped into the blackened metal. Valley Flyer. Just like mine, see? He shows you his lantern. As long as you have it, you'll be able to signal us and move between your time zone and ours. What happened to the dog, you ask? I'm not sure, but after tonight, we know that he's alive and living in your time zone. If you can help us get him safely back to his own timeline, then we'll be able to return to our families. Will you help us? Go on to the next page. You look at their anxious faces and wonder how you would cope with being stuck between time zones. We won't lie to you. It could be dangerous. And somehow Belinda's involved. And, yeah, you probably have to talk to her. You're not sure you want to get too involved with her. On the other hand, you feel sorry for the men. You might be their only chance to return to their own time zone. If you decide to help them, turn to page 106. If you refuse to help them, turn to page 44. You know what? I don't know if we want to help them. I guess we have to help. If we don't help them, we're probably like stuck on the train forever or something crazy. Help. Help. About a honey, help. Help. Help the people on the ghost train. So they can go back to their families. Alright. Help? Yeah. Gotta help, right? Well, Brian says we go to page 44. Refuse to help them. Well, the thing is, it seems like the reason why they're trapped in this train is because Belinda didn't like them, because they did something that made her upset. So there's probably a good... So if Belinda didn't like them, there's probably a good reason why they're trapped between time zones, but I feel like we don't help them, they might like retaliate by keeping us on the train forever. Yeah, welcome. Help. I don't really want to help them. Yeah, I don't really want to help them either, to be honest. All right, Melinda. All right. I guess we will help them. Page 106. I'll help you if I can, you tell the crew of the train, but there's something I don't understand. Belinda is living in my time zone. If her dog gets back to the correct time zone, will she go back automatically? Oh, so it's her dog. Okay. Well, no wonder why she trapped them in, like, a time zone for killing her dog. I would, too. We don't know, Jeremiah says. She passes through time frequently. We've seen her as we go up and down the valley, but she can't reclaim her dog until it's in the right time zone. It can't get back without your help, and neither can we. What do I have to do, you ask? 1 week from tonight, Ben replies, is the anniversary of the dog's accident with the train. Dick will be back on the track, waiting. We want you to be there, too. Deliver the dog to us, and we'll take it from there. I'll do my best, you say. What time? When the clock strikes 10, you'll hear the whistle, says Ben. Have the dog in your grasp by the third blast. We'll slow down to get him aboard. Sal will be watching for you. But you mustn't tell anyone about us. Not a soul. I won't. I promise, you say. They back the train off the siding and let you off just below the house. Clutching the lantern in one hand, you swing down from the engine. The moment your feet touch the wet grass in the field, the train vanishes. Once again, the track is overgrown with grass and weeds. There's no sign at all that a train has passed through. You shiver. It's late and you're tired, but you don't sleep very well. Turn to page 94. Keeping secrets. What fun. 94. 2 days after your encounter with the Phantom train, Harry comes home from the hospital. Since he has limited mobility on his crutches, you and Mrs. Winters turn his downstairs office into a bedroom. Harry is in a bad mood most of the time. He spends hours on the phone talking to other growers about the possible trucker strike. When you tell him the Jeep tire blowout was caused by a rifle shot, he hires a guard, a man named Chuck Simpson, to patrol the farm. But even with Chuck on the job, you continue to find irrigation pipe that has been cut. You wonder about your meeting with the train. Will the dog show up? Will you be able to get him aboard the coach? Did it all really happen? Or were you just dreaming? Very bad dream. Just a very intense dream. The day you're supposed to meet the train is rainy. Not a gentle summer rain, but a torrential downpour that threatens the peach crop and makes Harry even more surly. You're glad when dinner's over. Think I'll go upstairs and read, you tell Harry. He nods, but doesn't look up from the papers he's working on. Good night, he mutters. I'll be turning in soon myself. You lie down in your bed with a book, but you don't read. You watch the clock. At 9:40 you pick up the lantern, loop a piece of rope around your belt, and creep downstairs. In your back pocket is a piece of rawhide to use as a lure for the dog. No light is showing under the door to Harry's room. You go outside. It has stopped raining and the air is fresh, but overhead the sky is dark. The night feels ominous. Turn to page 88. You slosh along through the orchard to the piece of track where you're supposed to meet the yellow dog and the train. You're early, but you want to be ready. You light the lantern and lean up against a tree to wait, peering through the darkness. It seems as if you've been waiting forever when you hear a low growl coming from the other side of the track. You hold up the lantern. From the north side of the property you hear a faint whistle. You see a yellow blur moving through the shadows as the dog approaches. As you move towards the track, a voice calls out behind you. Stop! Halt! You're trespassing! It's the guard, Chuck. He can't tell that it's you. You know he's carrying a rifle, but would he dare shoot? He's going to ruin everything. The train whistle blows again, and the dog barks. But you know Chuck can't hear or see either one. You don't have much time. Halt! Chuck cries again. Should you identify yourself to Chuck and risk losing the dog, or should you concentrate on the dog and hope that Chuck doesn't decide to shoot you? If you stop and identify yourself, turn to page 4. If you go after the dog, turn to page 28. Is that a rawhide in your pocket? I'm just happy to see the dog. Dog. Go after the dog. I'm not supposed to tell anybody about the dog. Page 28. Halt! Chuck repeats, but you have much more important things to do. The dog is crouched on the other side of the track, watching you. You reach for the rawhide in your pocket and toss it into the air. The dog leaps up and seizes it in his teeth. The train is coming closer. You grab the rope at your belt to loop it around the dog's neck. A shot rings out. The next morning, investigators at the site try to piece together what happened. It's clear to them that Chuck mistook you for a trespasser and shot and killed you, but the real mystery is what happened to him. One older detective scratches his head. For the life of me, it looks like the poor fellow was caught by the cowcatcher on a train and dragged along the track here. Leastways, that's what the markings on the grass along the track seem to indicate. But there's been no train on this track for 50 years. Maybe more, says the other detective. Why do they always say that? 50 years, maybe more. I know, the older man replies. Chuck's death is recorded as an unsolved mystery in the township records. The only witness to the events of that night is a yellow dog, who frequently returns to chew on a piece of rawhide that he has buried near the tracks. The end. Oof, so you both got killed. Well, yeah, he got killed by the train, and then you got killed because he shot you. Well, Yeah, let's identify ourselves to Chuck. Let's do that. Let him know that, please don't shoot us. Gun violence isn't just a thing in America, I guess. All right. Don't worry, Chuck. It's me, you yell. You wave the lantern so that he can see you. I couldn't sleep. Came out to get some air. Right, Chuck replies. Just checking. He turns and goes off in the other direction as you breathe a sigh of relief. That was close. You look at your watch. It's almost 10 o'clock. The train is approaching through the North Orchard, and the dog is on the track. Your timing is perfect. You reach for the rawhide in your pocket, and just as the dog leaps, you toss it into the air. He catches the rawhide in his teeth. You grab the scruff of his neck and loop the rope over his head as the whistle blows for the third time. You can see the brakeman's lantern swinging as the train slows almost to a stop. You pick up the dog and heave him at Saul as he leans out the door of the passenger coach. Jeremiah salutes you with his lantern as the caboose passes by. The steam engine puffs along through the orchard below the house and then disappears. As you walk back onto the house, you're left with an empty feeling. You'd like to know what happens to the crew. You climb the stairs to your room and put the lantern down on the hearth. You wonder if it still has the power to signal to the train in the other time zone, or if it only worked when the train was between time zones. You take off your damp clothes and crawl under the warm comforter. You fall asleep instantly. And here we are handing the dog to, I already forgot his name. Saul. Yes. Okay. Turn to page 111. Is that a happy pup or a murderous one? I can't tell. He looks... I guess if a dog gets picked up, they're going to be angry no matter what. The dudes are terrible and the dog knows. Yep. Well, because it's not even their dog. It's Belinda's dog. Oh, and the dog probably knows that they ran the dog over. The next morning, Harry hollers to you before the alarm goes off. At first you think you're dreaming, but when Mrs. Winters taps on the bedroom door, you know it's no dream. You hop out of your bed and onto the floor. Hurry down, dear, she says. Harry needs you. You throw on your clothes and run downstairs, wondering what the fuss is about. Harry is in the office eating breakfast. He pushes a plate of bacon and eggs towards you. Here, eat up, he says. Sorry about the rush, but we're short-staffed today. I need you to go work on the fruit stand. But Belinda, you start to say. Belinda has disappeared, Harry says. Well, she didn't come to pick up the cash box at 6:30. I sent Mrs. Winters over with it. Belinda's gone, lock, stock, and barrel. The picker's cabin is so clean, it looks like she never even lived there. Of course. Belinda's gone back to the other time zone with the dog. A big grin crosses your face as you put the pieces together. That means it really did happen, and the trainmen are now back with their families. What are you grinning at? Harry asks. Oh, I'm just looking forward to working in the fruit stand, you tell him. It will be different. Here's the cash box, Harry says. Chuck's waiting outside to give you a ride to the stand. Turn to page 27. Saul. Better ask Saul. Better call Saul. Saul. Page 27, somewheres. You pick up the cash box and go out. The pickup truck is loaded with boxes of cherries and apricots and early peaches for the stand. Hurry up, Chuck says. All right. I'm usually prompt, you say. I didn't know I was going to be working in the fruit stand until 10 minutes ago. You were out late last night, Chuck says. Snooping around with that lantern. If you're spying on me, you'll be sorry. You start to speak when he cuts you off. A truck passes you, and the driver flashes his headlights. That driver signaled to you, you say to Chuck. Never saw him before, Chuck says. Turn to page 70. Your intuition tells you that he's lying. 2 miles down the road, you know you're right when you see the same truck parked on the shoulder. The driver is standing beside the vehicle, waving as you approach. Chuck ignores the man and drives quickly past, but not before you've seen the red and black Naldo emblem on the truck. Why would a Naldo driver signal Chuck? You walking back, or you expect me to come and get you? Chuck asks. Walking back sounds a lot more pleasant than riding with Chuck again. On the other hand, if you ask for a ride, you might be able to learn why the Naldo driver was flagging him. If you ask Chuck to pick you up, turn to page 31. If you say you'll walk back, turn to page 47. Here we are with the peaches, and the Naldo guys waving to him, and there's Chuck. So I guess we can either walk back, or we can get a ride back with Chuck. Walk? Yeah, walk. We don't trust Chuck. We'll walk back. I'll walk back, you say to Chuck. Suit yourself, he says. The day passes slowly. Only a few tourists stop to buy fruit. You spend a lot of time thinking. You try to figure out why Chuck would accuse you of spying on him and why the Naldo truck driver signaled to him. You keep coming to the same conclusion. Chuck must be working for Naldo. That night, you talk to Harry about your suspicions. He pats your shoulder and says, You know, sometimes when things aren't going right, we get to be scared of our own shadows. I know I hired Chuck on the spur of the moment, but I don't think we need to worry about him. You're not convinced. One evening when you're out in the shed, you overhear Chuck on the cellular phone that's in his pickup. Looks like 6 days to me until old Harry has a for sale sign on the lawn, he says, laughing. You decide not to say anything to Harry, but to keep a closer watch on Chuck. Since the peaches are close to harvest, Harry tells you that he has hired a teenager to work at the stand so that you can stay and work with him in the orchards. The Red Haven peaches are right on schedule, Harry says that night. The pickers come next week. Looks like about 6 days will wind things up. Turn to page 78. If we want to die, though, Chuck. Wait, page. Oh no, what page were we going to? Totally forgot what page we were going to. Page, oh yeah. Page 78. 6 days. Remember what Chuck said on the phone. You know that Harry is looking forward to getting the crop in, but what is Chuck anticipating with such pleasure? You can't figure it out. On Sunday evening, Harry gets a phone call from one of the other fruit farmers in the area. You can tell by watching his face that the news isn't good. After he hangs up, he hobbles over to the window on his crutches and looks out at the rows of trees outlined by the setting sun. I may lose it all yet, he says. What's happened, you ask? The truckers voted to strike, he replies. So what do we do now, you ask? The fruit's ready, Harry says. We have to go ahead and harvest as planned, but it may just sit in the crates and rot. Isn't there another way to move it out, you ask? Harry shakes his head. There isn't a trucker in the province who'll cross the picket line. The only way to get the fruit to the coast in good condition would be by train from Sycamus. His shoulders sag as he lowers himself into a chair. But getting it to Sycamus without trucks would take a major miracle. Page 95. When you go to bed that night, you lie awake for a long time. Sycamus, right at the end of the run for the Phantom train. You know the crew will help you if you can contact them, but now that the curse has been lifted, signaling with the lantern may not work. The train may not be able to pass through time zones anymore. But the more you think about it, the more you realize you have to give it a try. The next night, after Harry has gone to sleep, you take the lantern and go down to the orchard below the house. A little before 10, you start signaling, waving the lantern back and forth in an arc. A few minutes later, you hear the whistle and see the wavering light of the engine. It worked! Turn to page 67. funny thinking of like truckers in Canada. Maybe the truckers are going to like try to block a major intersection because they don't want to get a vaccine. Okay, page 67. Metal wheels screech on metal rails as the engine slows to a halt. Ben waves from the cab, and you grab the ladder and pull yourself up as Saul and Jeremiah hurry through from the back. Good to see you again, Ben says. Frank grabs your hand, and Rusty gives you a hug. What's the occasion? As briefly as you can, you explain to the men about the trucker strike and how Harry will lose not only the crop, but his orchards as well if he can't get his peaches to the coast. I don't get it, says Rusty. We can get the peaches to Sycamus, but that's the end of the line. How do they get to the coast from there? Well, you say slowly, you can get them to Sycamus and unloaded. I'm hoping I can arrange to get them loaded into a Canadian Pacific refrigerated car for the rest of the trip. What's a refrigerated car? Rusty asks, puzzled. He grins when you explain and shakes his head. Boy, could we use something like that, he says. Do you think it'll work? You ask Ben. Only one way to find out, he replies. Where do we pick up the fruit? The road out to the highway crosses the tracks at one spot, you say. I'll have the bins stacked besides the road. The forklift driver will think they're for truck pickup if the strike ends. I just hope Harry doesn't ask any questions. Gotta keep some more secrets from Harry. How do we load these bins? Rusty asks. We'll need to bring flat cars, you say, and I need to figure out a way to have the forklift there. We'll be glad to give it a try, Ben says. Thanks, you say, shaking his hand. I know we could count on your help. See you Thursday night. You swing down to the ground, gripping the lantern tightly in one hand. The train, which has been idling, picks up steam and starts forward. You know that there is a lot of work to be done, but you feel better than you have in days. You turn and start for the house, but you haven't gone 3 steps when you see a light flash over by the equipment barn. You blow out the lantern and carefully make your way across the clearing behind the house. When you reach the barn, you creep alongside the wall till you find an open window. Voices from inside tell you that there is more than one intruder. Should you risk confronting them by yourself? Or should you go back to the house and tell Harry? Yeah, confront them by yourself. Hey, I'm a 12-year-old kid, stop. If you confront the intruders, turn to page 9. If you go to the house and tell Harry, tell Harry, turn to page 86. Tell Harry. Yeah, we gotta tell Harry, right? They'll probably just shoot us if we try to confront them. Harry. We'll go tell Harry. Page 86. Oh. You turn around and run back towards the house. You don't know what the people in the barn are doing, but you're sure it's not good. 2 sets of footsteps pound behind you. You're grabbed from behind, and your arms are pinned back. The lantern falls from your hand. Snoop! Chuck's voice hisses in your ear. You'll learn to mind your own business. What were you doing to Harry's tractor? You demand, trying to wiggle out of Chuck's grasp. I'll ask the questions, says Chuck. He starts to drag you over towards his pickup truck, but suddenly a shot rings out. Chuck lets go of you and dives into the cab of the truck. His friend leaps in on the passenger's side. You look around quickly to see who fired the shot. I hate these guys. They're all wearing like lumberjack shirts or something. All right, turn to page 15. So much flannel. That's Roddy Piper. Yeah, it kind of looks like him. Yeah, we're definitely in Canada. It's Belinda. She's standing over by the pine tree in the yard, holding a rifle. Harry, alerted by the shot, comes out of his house on his crutches, clumsily carrying his rifle. The starter on the truck grinds as Chuck tries to start the motor. They're going to get away, you yell. Stop them. They go nowhere, Belinda says, nodding at the truck. You follow her gaze. All 4 tires on the pickup are flat. I say Belinda's got things under control, Harry says, coming up beside you. He doesn't even seem surprised to see her. Harry, where did she come from, you whisper. She's been gone for days. Who knows, Harry replies. She comes and goes like the wind, but she always seems to be here when I need her, so I never ask questions. Page 105. Go inside and call the constable, Harry says to you, while I check the equipment. That's what they were after. When you come back out of the house, Belinda is gone, and Harry is now guarding the 2 men. A few minutes later, the police come and take them away. You and Harry then go inside. Harry, you say, I don't understand how Belinda managed to reappear like that, just in time to catch the saboteurs. Neither do I, says Harry. Some things can't be explained. Yay, Belinda. Careful of Belinda, she's mad about you. Yay. And that's how we learned that shamans are not bad, not so bad after all, because they have some cool magical powers. Turn to page 48. You take a deep breath. Harry, there's something I can't explain, and I'm not supposed to tell you about it, but I'm going to. Shoot, says Harry. I can keep a secret. It's about the Valley Flyer, you say. By the time you're finished the story, Harry is as excited as you are. I have a hunch, he says. This crop is going to make it to market after all. Strike or no strike. The end. Yay! Doesn't matter if they're on strike because we've got a ghost train. Take that, strikers. Trying to get more money and stuff. Woo! Well, we made it. We made it, everybody. But there was like a whole story there. Like, that didn't even need to involve like shamans or like strange women with like knives that were like suspicious of. Like, we basically just had a story about those guys and like the Naldo Corporation and like, you know, stuff like that. So, which is what eventually it kind of turned into. Anyways, yeah, the least racist ending. Yeah, that was not too racist. I did have to skip over a lot of racism. So, woo. Well, I guess in the future I'll just like more carefully screen which books I read. And just like flip through them. Alright, thanks, Sue. You're welcome. Yeah, you don't need racism to have ghosts. You really don't. Yeah, and this is like, you know, like I was saying earlier, this is Choose Your Own Adventure 120. So I can understand if it's like the earlier ones that took place in the 80s. You know, but yeah. Alright, well, I think I will stop here before my voice goes. You're welcome, Rachel. Good night, Brian. Thanks, Stephanie. Yeah, I tried to edit things on the fly, so hopefully it didn't sound too awkward. So, but I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna read any more about like being suspicious of Belinda or like, you know, curses or any of that stuff. So yeah. Next week I promise no racism. I'll screen it. So make sure. So all right, well, hope you're all doing well. And have a good week. And hopefully I'll see you all in 7 days. All right. Take care, everybody.